I am the who in the call who's there. Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with getting a little into the Halloween spirit a little early, because it's just good fun. Okay, and this is what I'm doing at the moment. We're doing a series of stories which have come from you, true ghost stories, true supernatural stories, paranormal stories, which have either happened to you and you can tell me they've happened to you, or if they've happened to a friend of yours and you've heard it second hand, you tell me, so that everyone out there can make up their own mind. Okay, that's the whole thing about this. So I'm going to keep it totally anonymous, so I'm not going to mention your channel or your name, so it doesn't matter, you know, just like be honest with me. That's what that's all about, really. And if you're honest with me, this comes out on the channel and like people can just enjoy it, you know. So I've got more of like an occultic weird story for you today. It says here, this one is to do with a skrying mirror. My first experience with a black mirror was somewhat bizarre, considering I've never had a vivid crystal clear hallucination before. Okay, for those of you who don't know, that thing up there, okay, that's my black mirror. It's just a clip frame with a bit of black cardboard in it, and it can work really well. Okay, right. I set up the mirror, flanked it with 2 candles, and began to stare at my dimly lit, cautiously eager face. After a short time, everything in the mirror went black, until the only sensory information I had were the faint flickerings of the candles in my peripheral vision. An image appeared in the mirror. It was my face again. Just as I had begun to think that I had broken concentration, I noticed quite a transformation. I saw my face as usual, apart from the fact that I now had the beak of an eagle. Interesting, I thought. Let's try this again. This time, the mirror faded to black again, and when the image returned, my face had a lion's muzzle. Just as a side note, I've done black mirror scrying and my face went reptilian and scaly and the eyes went slitted and all kinds of weird stuff. So for those of you conspiracy nuts out there who think I'm a reptilian, maybe there's some truth in it. I don't know. The story goes on. It was only years later that I realized the astrological coincidence, as these creatures corresponded to fixed signs. I was having a fair bit of fun, so I thought I'd try it again. The image in the mirror faded to black, and what faded back in was quite jarring to me. My sprightly 19-year-old face had been aged by what seemed to be about 100 years. Needless to say, the fears of my mortality washed over me. But in my youthful folly, of course, I had to press on. Whether that's folly or not, that's another issue, okay? You know, it's like, it's good to experiment and explore. The mirror faded to black for a final time, and what faded back in was completely unexpected. It wasn't just one of my heads. It was many of them, 20 or so, I guess, all zoomed in and out at different levels, inhabiting the space of the mirror as though it had depth. If in this strange state of being, this visual madness, was what laid beyond my fear of death, then perhaps it's more sane to cling on to that fear. So, what's really happening there? Well, what we do know is that when you use the black mirror, okay, and you set it up with 1 candle to the left and 1 candle to the right, what you're doing is you're trying to make sure that those candle flames don't shine into the mirror, but reflect onto the left and right hand sides of your faces. The rest of the room is in total darkness, so the only source of light really is the reflection of your face. You develop persistence of vision hallucination, okay, because you're staring at this image again and again and again until your brain starts to like make everything much of a muchness, so you can start to like distinguish any new thing which is in your field of vision, okay? And because you're like in a meditative state in a darkened environment and you got candles and it's all really rather weird and spooky, okay, from a psychological point of view, your mind is looking to make some sense of this blob of stuff in front of you, and so you're more likely to start to see something. But what's weird is when these things start to develop some kind of meaning. Okay? And they seem to connect things, whether it's your astrological signs, or whether it's to people you used to know, or people who you have yet to know. These things have happened, okay? It's weird. And yeah, you've got to give it a go. Black Mirror scrying is basically the way forward. Ouija boards are still great fun, okay? But if you want to get totally weird, and if you want to freak yourself out and even have the occasional moments of intense fear, then the Black Mirror is the way to go.